Uh, sorry for sorry for the interruption with the last slide we were discussing. We were discussing oculesics, right? So oculesics, we already discussed how it is considered as a direct and powerful form, and also the most noticeable one. And we should try and avoid the eye contact and gaze and mutual gaze. And we discussed how it differs among the cultures, and it is going to help both the sender and the receiver in sending and receiving the message. So this is what we discussed. Then we discussed some tips as we were going through that small video.
Did you know that you could ask a stranger 36 questions and then look them in the eyes for 4 minutes and you might fall in love? Over 20 years ago, psychologist Arthur Aaron set out to do just that. 2 strangers in a lab, sitting across the table from each other, asking each other increasingly vulnerable questions that ended with 4 minutes of uninterrupted, quiet eye contact. This experiment and its supplemental research was done because having intimate, vulnerable relationships in our lives has been linked to living longer, being happier, having more financial stability, and a plethora of other great things that we all want in our lives. Now, to me, the most interesting thing about this experiment was the 4 minutes of uninterrupted eye contact. Showing someone who you are, offering them a vulnerability through your eyes. Now, clearly, this isn't something we want to probably do with strangers. But I think there's something to be learned about the connection that we can create by seeing one another. Now, looking and seeing are 2 totally different things. Looking, it's passive. Seeing is active. Looking is observation. Seeing is a conversation. It's a chance to create a space where connection can appear. But I've noticed an epidemic breaking out where people don't notice each other, and in fact, they hardly even look at each other, much less see each other. And with 87% of adults in our world having their smartphone on them day and night, it's no wonder I've seen people so engrossed in their devices that they've run into other humans or stepped out into traffic. I've seen people who were so scared to pass someone on the sidewalk, they crossed the street to avoid it. I've seen emails being sent from across the room when a coworker's cubicle is literally 10 feet away. I think that we need to offer each other a little bit of kindness in the form of eye contact. We've made it really easy to take away the human in all of this communicating. We can shoot off a quick text message, not realizing that a breathing person is going to be reading it. We can send varying degrees of disrespectful emails, well, because we can hide behind our computer screen. But we're here, and we are educated, we're open-minded, we're interesting, we're interested, and we're curious. We're curious about the world that we live in and the people that inhabit that world. We come to things like this to create a community of people who want to share great ideas, that want to make the world a better, more exciting, and to create a community of curiosity. So why not give each other just the littlest bit of kindness in the form of eye contact? I mean, I get it. We're all busy. We all have a lot of people in our lives. We all have a lot of things going on. Not to mention, we're carrying around those tiny computers. And as a person who didn't have the internet their entire life, I get it. It's fascinating to be able to look up anything you want from the palm of your hand. But that attitude creates a bubble around us. We then could create communities where we see people that look just like us. People read the same things as us. They watch the same shows as us. They vote the same way as us. I think that by offering our eyes to a stranger, we can break some of those bubbles. We think it's less awkward, or so we tell ourselves, to look away from another person instead of looking at them. We find it more comfortable to pretend that we're busy, even if we're not. But busyness, well, that's worn as a badge of honor in our world. All of those reasons are reasons why it's even more important to create just a little eye contact with a stranger. And I get it. It's intimidating. I mean, eye contact can be really scary. It offers us a way to see someone else. And it offers someone else a way to see us, which is maybe even scarier. I think that if we take the time to bridge our gaps with a little bit of eye contact, we're non-verbally saying to another person, I see you. You see me. We can see each other, and that's a really beautiful thing. And you never know. You could fall in love.
After that, we were just understanding some examples of gazing up, gazing down on the side, and wandering and all that. And then we had to start with this, some tips for the effective eye contact. So whenever we are talking about the effective eye contact, it is said that you should always look at everyone while addressing the group. And it is like I already told you in the beginning, right, that if you're addressing a group, then oh, I think I'm so sorry. I think we've already discussed this thing. Yeah, we have already discussed this thing. I'm so sorry for this confusion. Anyway, I'll just take you through the points. So if you have trouble staring someone in the eye, then you look at something else on their face. And you should look at the reactive listeners, and do not look at bad listeners who may distract you. Sometimes it'll definitely happen in the group, that in a group, if you're addressing a group, there will be some people who will be acting as a distraction to you, right? Maybe the way they are looking at you, you're not comfortable. They are making you feel really uncomfortable, or maybe they are just fidgeting with the pen, or they are just doing some kind of movement, which is considered as some kind of disturbance, unnecessarily distraction. Some kind of distraction is there. So then what you should do is, then you can try and avoid. I mean, of course, it is true that you need to maintain the eye contact with everybody, but at times, for the people who genuinely make you feel uncomfortable, or who is constantly taking away your attention, so just because somebody is fiddling with the pen, or just because somebody is tapping the feet, if you hear, or just because you see somebody doing some kind of movement with their finger, or constantly moving the head, if you feel that they are the distraction to you, that you just try and avoid that thing. So that's how you should you should not look at the bad listeners. And the last one, do not look at the floor scripts or anything that causes you tilt your head away from the receiver. So this is just a tip, for the effective listening, that whenever you if there's anything that making you avoid the eye contact, then try and avoid those situations. For example, if you're looking at the floor, right? So if you just addressing the audience and if you constantly look at the floor, then that means that you lack confidence, right? Or you're just constantly looking at the script. So anything that's causing the tilting of your head, that you're constantly looking down, right, it means that you're not able to maintain the eye contact, which is actually necessary to grab the attention of your audience. So that's how you can follow some of these tips too for the effective eye contact. Now there's one small video which I would like to take you through. The lady is sharing some tips in very simple language. Let's see what she has to say.
Let's talk about eye contact. Eye contact. Now, eye contact can be way more intimate than words can ever be. You can use eye contact to your advantage as you get to know someone and try to build that lasting bond with them. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video on how to make a positive first impression, and there I asked you if I should make a video on eye contact and its importance in your body language, communication, and your overall impression. The video had staggering hundreds of positive comments, so here I am today sharing the importance of eye contact in communication and body language. With 5 tips, let's talk about eye contact. Eye contact. Now, eye contact can be way more intimate than words can ever be. You can use eye contact to your advantage as you get to know someone and try to build that lasting bond with them. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video on how to make a positive first impression, and there I asked you if I should make a video on eye contact and its importance in your body language, communication, and your overall impression. The video had staggering hundreds of positive comments, so here I am today sharing the importance of eye contact in communication and body language with 5 tips that have worked for me immensely well and transformed many of my clients' images too. I am Parmita, Chicago-based image coach and photographer. Welcome to my channel, Blush with Me. Maintaining an appropriate amount of eye contact is beneficial to any relationship, including those with your children, friends, colleagues, partners, and even clients. Now, this is not one of those videos that tells you if you're looking to your top right, you are thinking. If your eyes are to your top left, you are lying. If they're down, no, this is not one of those. This is purely to help you become that unforgettable, confident person who knows what they want and how to get it using appropriate eye contact rules that always succeed. So tip number 1 is power gazing. Now, what is power gaze? The basic principle of power gaze is to lock eyes with the other person and gaze intently into them. Even without words, this can be devastatingly powerful in making the other person feel that you should be believed and that you are superior. Now, do not stare when you're trying to do the power gaze. About 7 to 8 seconds at a stretch is enough. Look away briefly and reconnect. Watch this video clip for reference. And also remember not to squint when you're doing it. I have noticed this very often where people think they're doing the power gaze, but they're actually coming across aggressive. And that happens when you start squinting a little. See the difference between power gazing and squinting. Squinting gives you that aggressive expression. Try to keep a more even, steady gaze directly into the other person's eyes. Now, the trick to use if you find gazing into another person's eyes intimidating is to look at the bridge of their nose, right between their eyes. This is possible if the other person has a very strong personality, and it can be intimidating, right? But looking at the bridge of their nose will make the other person think that you are looking straight into their eyes, while in reality, you are not. Also, try to reduce your blink rate. This should happen naturally if you're concentrating on the other person, and it will exclude any distracting thoughts. Also, keep your head still. This is very important. A constant moving head shows anxiety, while a non-moving head indicates focus and close attention. Right? No? Yeah? Stop it, Paramita. Now, tip number 2 is for eye contact in a group. 7 to 8 seconds of power gaze is great for one-on-one communication, but 3 to 5 seconds is common in a group communication. So when you're in a group setup and there are a few people around you, make sure each one of them, or at least in each direction, you focus for at least 2 to 3 seconds. This way you'll make sure everyone gives you that undivided attention. Tip number 3, stay silent and maintain eye contact. This may not be power gaze, but this is definitely a very, very powerful tip. So when you stay silent and maintain eye contact even after the other person is done answering, this will prompt them to give you more information. Try it. Like seriously, when the other person is done answering, continue to give them that gaze, continue to look into their eyes with interest. The other person will want to tell you more. This shows that you are interested in the conversation. This also prompts the other person to give you more information than you even expected. Tip number 4 is yet another very, very effective eye contact tip. If you are trying to convince someone, make sure the other person is sitting down and you are standing. You will come across far more believable. Think about presentations or public speaking. When you're standing, you are able to convince the other person a lot more effectively than when you are at their eye level. Tip number 5, don't forget your body language. Studies show that making eye contact helps people to remember what you say and what you do. In fact, when you couple eye contact with your body language, it makes them pay even more attention to you. So if I follow all these points, but I lean back, versus when I'm leaning towards someone, I am communicating very differently. The impact of what I say will be noticeably different. So your whole body language overall has to support your eye contact. For instance, a genuine, subtle smile on your face will reflect in your eyes. So keep that smile in your eyes and keep it natural and just go with the flow. Don't overthink how much smile is good smile. Did I calculate my stare right? How wide were my eyes? Was I looking creepy? Just use your mirror or your phone. They are your best friends when.
Alright, so it was very interesting, right? And I'm sure you will agree that more than anything, her eyes and her facial expression and her gestures, everything was so captivating, right? You could definitely feel that thing, like whatever she was saying, whatever she was speaking, it was really so convincing that we could actually feel that thing. You could actually live that thing. Like while she was talking about whatever tips she was giving, for example, she said that if you are not able to maintain the eye contact for whatever reason, then you can use the part of your nose just to see, so that the listener will feel that you're still paying attention to them. Or whatever tips she was giving, like your body language, it will add to the communication along with your eyes. So all these things, when she was saying, her facial expression was so powerful, so strong. Her eyes, the way they were moving, right, with little smile. She said that you should have little smile on your face, and that should be reflected through your eyes, and it should look really natural. So all these things was quite convincing. So that's what I wanted to know, that maybe you can practice this thing. Sometimes what happens is, whenever we are communicating with people, we give very neutral expression, because back of our mind, a lot of thoughts are going on. So you really do not emphasize on what you are saying, because you are already stuck somewhere else with some other thoughts. So ideally you should be avoiding that thing whenever you are communicating with somebody, especially some important conversations are going on. You should really pay attention, ensure that along with the words, your emotions are also there, your gestures, your eye contact, your facial expression, everything should synchronize, should fall in line. Then the communication will be very impactful and very powerful, very convincing. So this is very much needed, and eyes definitely can play an important role in having a good communication, to ensure that the listeners are understanding the messages that has been that we are passing, trying that they should understand. So that's how this is about oculesics, one of the most powerful forms, since it is seen first whenever you're trying to communicate with a person, and it should be practiced and taken advantage of. The next one, now we will be moving on to the third type of nonverbal communication, which is called haptics. So haptics is all about touch. Touch is also one way of conversing, communicating without saying a word. For example, just look at the picture right there on the top, the animated picture. So you can see a man putting his hand on the head of a small boy. Now what can you make out looking at the picture? See, there's no words, there are no words, right? Nobody is explaining anything about that picture. But the point is that if you just look at the picture, you can just feel that father is blessing, blessing the son. That's it, that's what you feel, right? So that means by touching, even if you touch the feet, so many of us, I hope most of you must be having this habit, that during every day, especially when you leave for work, or when you go for your studies, or if you're going to a workplace, or you must be having this habit of touching the feet of your parents just to seek the blessings. Or if not every day, let's say that you must be definitely doing it on some important occasions, maybe during festivals, maybe during Diwali, right? So we Indians have the habit of seeking the blessing by touching the feet of our parents and the elders, to seek the blessings. Now even if they don't say anything, and even if they just put their hand on your head, what does it mean? It means they are blessings, they are giving us a lot of blessings, right? Or let's say that you do something well, and your parents are just patting you. What does it mean? The pat doesn't mean they are beating you up, right? Doesn't mean they're hurting you, but it automatically means that, okay, they are appreciating you, they are really happy about your performance, right? Or let's say that you are just having a fight with an argument with somebody, and your friend will just come and put his or her hand on your shoulder, right? That means that is extending a support to you. Or let's say that a friend you're meeting after a long time, without uttering a word, your friend will just come and hug you tight maybe. What does it mean? It clearly shows that it is an affection, right? If somebody is just somebody is just giving you a tight slap, what does it mean? It means they are showing you an anger. So all these things, touch is actually considered as a very important form of communication, right? Because different thing has different meaning attached to them. So these are some of the examples which are mentioned over here. I already told you that when we are talking about touch, we are talking about expressing different kind of emotions. So it could be, as I said, blessing also. It could be appreciation also. It could be love also. It could be anger also. So it can help you to either give you some kind of comfort, or it can also it can also create some kind of dominance, or it can help you establish bonds also. So like as a friends, like being friends, like I've observed it so many times, you must be doing it yourself. So whenever you're meeting your friends, first thing you do is like hug them, or maybe you shake your hands, or you just you do something that help you establish that bond. You just feel that thing, like first thing you do is that's how you greet your friends. So what does it indicate? Maybe you don't do the same thing to all the type of friends, right? But only to the ones who are close to you, you hug them. So it clearly indicates that okay, you're close friends. But if you're meeting strangers, or if you're meeting any casual friends, then you prefer handshake. So different people who are just observing this thing, they will just make out by looking at you and your behavior that what kind of friendship you hold with that person. So it is always going to talk about your intentions, your feeling, your relationship, and how much you respect that person, right? In short, it is going to help you convey some kind of warmth, some kind of comfort, some kind of reassurance. Now when we are talking about haptics, this behavior is mostly divided into some different degrees of intimacy basically. So there are either you share a functional, or let's say professional relationship with somebody, or you are close to somebody out of the social behavior, or let's say that you share friendship and you're just trying to show some warmth, or there is some kind of love and intimacy that you have. So when I'm talking about functional and professional relationship, let's say that when you're meeting your boss, or let's say that you're meeting your colleagues, then what you do, what kind of haptic behavior you show, you will shake your hands, right? This is the only thing that you do. Or let's say that if you have performed well, if you have successfully completed your project, or if you have done something really good, then your boss will just come and pat on your shoulder. So what does it mean? It clearly indicates that professionally also, right, somebody is just appreciating you, that yeah, well done. Otherwise, if it's like a very professional relationship, somebody will just shake hand or smile, and then other non-verbal cues you will be receiving to understand the message which has to be passed. The second one is, as I said, that another behavior is social behavior. You are touching somebody because of the social behavior. Yeah, second one, as I said, that the second haptic behavior that you show is out of the social relationship that you share with that person. For example, let's say that you visiting a doctor, and doctor is just patting you on your shoulder. So what does that mean? It just mean that it is some kind of reassurance or some kind of comfort which is coming from the doctor, right? So that is some kind of touch which is coming out of the social behavior or the relationship that you share with somebody. So that is called social behavior. The third type of touch that we are talking about, or haptic behavior that we are talking about is out of friendship. So this I already told you, right? Meeting friends, you hug somebody. What does it indicate? It just indicates the warmth or affection that you hold for somebody. So that is the friendship. And last one is love and intimacy, something which you will show to your parents, to your spouse, to your children, right? You will be hugging them, or you will be kissing them. So this is another level of touch. So all these things, as I said, that these are all non-verbal behavior that we are talking about, non-verbal communication that we are talking about. So even without words, if somebody is observing, then they will be able to make out what kind of relationship you hold with that person. So this is about haptics. The next one we are going to discuss is proxemics. So, proxemics is the distance at which we are comfortable with others while communicating. So, just like, touch indicates some kind of communication, I mean, the message that you pass, in the same way, the distance also, the space also, the distance also that you maintain, between whenever you communicating with people, it also passes some kind of messages. So, for example, so many times it happens that you are trying to talk to somebody and somebody would just come very close to you, and it will make you uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. So that means that somebody who is not supposed to come so close to you has entered your personal bubble, and that is making you feel uncomfortable, right? But if you are sharing, let's say, a very intimate relationship with somebody, let's say with your spouse or with your children, then they are allowed to come into your personal zone, and then it automatically communicates that yeah, you are comfortable, and then you are okay with that kind of space that people are maintaining. So all these types of territorial boundaries, they are directly going to influence the messages that will be passing, and any kind of distance is very important to send the right signals. Like for example, why do you think that people who have bigger offices and people who are at a very senior level positions, they have bigger tables? Like why do you think prime minister's table is so big, right? Because they want to create, they want to maintain some kind of distance from the people, and distance is automatically sending a type of message. Well, nowadays it is of course changing, because nowadays it is people mostly prefer to have open door policy. They do not want that others or your juniors should not be allowed to come and feel comfortable talking to you, because what happens is it hampers some kind of communication. What happens is they feel uncomfortable, they cannot have that kind of connect with you, which is somehow going to affect your work. Rather than that, people nowadays prefers open door policy, means my doors are always open for you. Anytime you have any kind of work, feel free, come talk, let's get the work done as soon as possible. So that's how even the space, the physical appearance, or let's say the infrastructure, the way they are built now, that has also changed. But ideally the situation was like this, that the bigger role a person is playing, or what kind of what kind of designation you hold, the bigger person you are, you would want that kind of infrastructure, you would like to maintain distance with people. So again, same thing, that when we are talking about proxemics, there are different kind of zones, just like we had zones in haptic behavior, same way. So for example, if you are in a public zone, right, mostly you will try and maintain almost 12 feet to 25 feet of distance, right? You will, that means who can come in your public zone. For example, if you are working, your colleagues can come, your juniors can come, your seniors can come, likewise, wherein you're addressing people, right, from a distance. And the communication that you use, for example, you will have to be loud enough, you will have to ensure that others are able to listen to you. But even if you don't talk, the distance that you will be maintaining automatically will be talking about the public behavior, that what you mean to others, what kind of relationship you share with others. Another thing can be your social space, something again which you would like to maintain, let's say with your neighbors, or again with your colleagues. So the distance can be almost 4 feet to 12 feet, that much distance you maintain whenever you try to communicate to them. The next one could be your personal zone, which could be 18 inches to 4 feet, means you're allowing your friends, your family members to enter into that personal zone of yours, come close to you and communicate. That would not make you feel uncomfortable, right? Because that kind of relationship you share with somebody. So if somebody is coming so close to you and is communicating, that means okay, you are okay talking to that person, and you've allowed that person to come into that zone. And the last one is intimate zone, that is so close from that you can touch a person So from personal touch to almost 18 inches, somebody is so close to you, right? Again, your spouse, your children, your parents, anybody who's very close to you, with whom you share the intimate relationship, will be communicating with you after entering into that intimate zone of yours. So once again, without using any kind of language, without any verbal communication, whenever you are allowing somebody to maintain a particular level of distance, that is also sending a message to another person. So this is about proxemics. I hope you understood. The first one that we discussed was about kinesics, in which we included your facial expression, in which we included gestures, and in which we included postures. The second one that we discussed was about oculesics, which was about your eye contact. Third one which we discussed was haptic, which was about touch. The fourth one that we discussed, the fourth type of non-verbal communication we discussed, was about proxemics, which is the distance that we are talking about. Then the next one, yeah, sorry, there is one more thing to add. So last sentence, the last point was the distance is also culture bound, so as in how you move, I mean, different culture have different kind of need to maintain the distance and space. Yeah, for example, US people need more space than Greeks do, or Latin Americans do, or Arabs do, and Japanese even stand farther away than US people do. So that means we are talking from the professional point of view, that what people prefer, whenever we are talking about professional relationship. That's why I said that if you are going for any kind of international assignments in different countries, first thing the organization would do is train you to understand, what are the cultural differences, and how well you will be able to how well it will be easy for you to get yourself suited in that particular culture. If you don't do that, then what will happen is you will not be able to successfully survive in that kind of environment, and in fact you will not be successful also, right? There are examples wherein, like how Indians are, like what we do is, like, we are very excited and we are very happy whenever we successfully let's say commit to something, right? Whenever we are getting some kind of projects, approval of some kind of projects, what we do is, like, we are very happy, very excited, and that is clearly shown on our face, and through our gestures also it is clearly visible. Now the same is not the case with Japanese, so if you there are some cases wherein after successfully signing the deal, the Indians were, like, very happy, hugging each other and very excited, and they had to, like, unfortunately go through the cancellation of those deals, because Japanese were little skeptical of what is happening, because that behavior was not acceptable to them, right? Because in their culture it means something else. So I also told you, like, we have seen till now that what does thumbs up means, or what does the fig means, or what does everything okay symbol means. So what it means in India, it clearly means something else in other countries. Something could be just obscene, or something could be unacceptable, something could be really rude. So you need to be very, very, very clearly understanding about these non-verbal cues. It definitely differs from one country to another country, and whenever you trying to communicate with somebody from that culture, you need to be aware about what it means in their culture. Next one, we are talking about appearance and artifacts. So appearance, something which you have always learned all your life, first impression is the last impression. Why do you think people say like that? Because your appearance is something which is clearly talking about you, your personality, your job, everything about you, right? So it is very important to have that first impression right. For example, if you see somebody in a uniform, right, you can easily make out that, okay, this person is a policeman, or this person is from military. Likewise, any kind of uniform, if you see somebody wearing white, you can easily make out that, okay, this person is a doctor, right? So uh, or let's say that this is from particular profession, but let's say that if you just see somebody who's wearing a nice suit, who's wearing a proper tie, is wearing like nice polished shoes, like in a for very formal attire, you will be able to make out that okay, a person is a executive level person or a managerial level person, very well educated, let's say that, or person might be holding a very high level position in the organization. So that's how you don't have to person doesn't even have to share about what do you do, but others will be able to make out that okay, maybe this person is um, actually belonging to some kind of managerial category in the organization. So there are so whatever factors, whatever factors are judging understanding judging a person, they should be taken really care of. So always take care of your clothing, always take care of your grooming, always take care of your accessories, because they are going to talk about the status that you hold in the society, the personality that you have. It is going to talk about your credibility, how much credible you are. It is going to definitely talk about your capability also, right? Why do you think, like, how do I'm not saying that we treat beggars in a different way, but like how much we are able to do for them, right? If you just see somebody begging on the street, then you can make out that okay, they are beggars, right? We show sympathy, but how far we can show the sympathy. So whatever inferences are made, like some could be right, some could be wrong. It's not necessary that if you see person who is well suited in a well groomed person will always be a managerial or executive level person. That person could be a salesman, like let's say a very normal person, right? But sometimes people will also have like wrong inferences made about the person looking at the appearance. So you can, of course, you need to just pay attention to have what you do. Now, what kind of attention we are talking about? So we are talking about good grooming. So you should take care of your hairstyle, it should be neat. You should be take care of your body hygiene, you should be take care of your shoes, they should be polished, you should ensure that your nails are clean. Like these are little things, little things which I don't think we need to discuss in this class, but still it is very very essential. We tend to ignore it. We feel that okay, like I'm going to the office, who's going to check my nails, right? People are busy, but it's not like that. People observe. Depending upon what kind of profession you are into, depending upon what work you are doing, but whatever, right? If you're meeting your senior, they definitely expect that you are nicely groomed, you're wearing good, clean, ironed clothes, your shoes are polished, because again, I said all these things are going to help you create the impression. Sometimes what happens is you're a very intelligent person, you're very good, very now knowledgeable, you are exceptionally doing well in your work, but just because you don't wear good clothes, just because your clothes are not ironed, you will miss out on so many opportunities, because everybody wants that your employees who are working in the organization should be like nicely should be dressing up really nice, because you will be representing your organization to the outsiders. So when you do that, you need to create that impression. Why do so many companies prefer that they give you uniform? Why do they give you common t-shirt, right? So because it's showing something, it's saying something about you. Now there are some organizations who prefer wearing uniform clothes. For example, they will give you, like, even if you are wearing denims, let's say you are a sales executive, and even if you are wearing like normal denims and whatever footwear you want to wear, but still you will be given, like, let's say a common t-shirt, white t-shirt, red t-shirt, yellow t-shirt, whatever, with the logo. So why does company prefers that? Because they want to show that okay, all of us are equal, right? So that uniform is also going to help you indicate that we believe in equality, right? Nobody is superior, nobody is inferior, but everybody is same. So that's why the organizations prefer to have uniform. Some organizations, just to ensure, because everybody will not have dressing sense, right? And you cannot disrespect somebody because somebody doesn't have a dressing sense. So in the organization, just to avoid that thing, some people might afford buying good clothes or branded clothes, or some people might not be able to purchase those branded clothes. Some people might have actually the sense that okay, what is the formal attire that I should be wearing to the office. Some people might not be clearly knowing what they should wear. So just to avoid that kind of confusion, so many organization prefers to give the uniform, like either free of cost or whatever, so that there's no such confusion happening over here, and there's one common impression which you create whenever you represent yourself outside. So that is all, that is about your attire. Then yeah, I mean, whenever we are talking about artifacts also, you should try and invest in professional looking clothes and accessories. Well, that's a good investment. If you are wearing good clothes and if you are able to create good impression, it is definitely going to get you good opportunities. There's no doubt about it. So you should just try. When I'm talking about accessories also, it doesn't mean like you should just avoid flashy clothes. You cannot wear those kind of clothes at your workplace. You cannot wear, of course, clunky jewelry to your workplace. Your makeup that you do, it has to be very subtle. It has to be very normal. You cannot use like garish makeup also, or perfumes. I mean, of course, everybody love perfumes, but it cannot be like very like it cannot be overpowering perfumes that people, instead of liking it, just want to get rid of you because it's overpowering. So these are little things which should be taken care of whenever we are talking about your professional appearance. But considering all these things, you have to ensure that you feel comfortable in whatever you're wearing, and whatever accessories you are using, they should suit you, and you should just feel comfortable, not that just to create some kind of fake impression you're wearing something in which you're not even able to carry it well. So don't wear then anything like that. Whatever you wear, you should be able to carry it yourself. So this is about the appearance and artifacts as one of the type of non-verbal communication. Without speaking anything, it's going to talk about you. Next one, something which is very very important, is your paralinguistics. We already discussed that whenever we are talking about the communication, it is almost 55% is your non-verbal communication, only 7% is your verbal communication, but almost 33% is your paralinguistic features, means the way you speak. That is going to ensure how well you are able to communicate, right? So when we are talking about paralinguistics, what does it mean? So paralinguistic is all about your voice. Your voice is going to communicate, something beyond the language you are definitely speaking. But I also told you that try speaking, um, try speaking without bringing any kind of changes to your voice. Like, try and speak in a very flat voice. Do you think you'll be impactful? Do you think that others will understand? No, your communication will not be impactful. See, right now what we are doing, unfortunately, this is a recorded session. It's not even a live class. If you were sitting in front of me, we would have really enjoyed this class better, or you would have understood whatever I am saying better, because you would have seen my facial expressions, right? You would have seen my gestures, you would have seen my posture, you would have seen how I am trying to how I am trying to change, maintain eye contact or change my facial expressions. So all these things would have added to the successful communication happening in this class of communication. But unfortunately, right now this is a recorded session, so here I can share the importance of paralinguistics. Now imagine if I am not bringing any kind of variations in my voice. I am not emphasizing on certain words that I am speaking, or I am not bringing any kind of changing in the tone of my voice, or I am not bringing any kind of changes in the pitch that I am using. Then, and if my voice is flat, you will not even listen to this recording, right? Why do you think we enjoy listening to some speakers? Because they have hold on the voice. No, I'm not just talking about the language. Whatever you speak, whichever language you use, but why some speakers are so much impactful, why they are why they are able to create that impression that we want to listen to them, because they have strong hold over their voice. They know, they know when they should be changing the volume. They know that how pitch should go up and down. They will know how rhythm should go up and down, what kind of tempo they should be maintaining when they are speaking, right? That's what is more captivating. Like, you must be listening to so many stand-up comedians also on YouTube. So why do you think you stop to somebody, and you don't randomly listen to each and every person, right? But you just stop to somebody and then you want to listen to what that person is saying. It's all because of the voice. Now, what is paralanguage? So it refers to all the vocally produced sound that is not a direct form of linguistic communication, but it is communication that goes beyond specific spoken words. And there are several qualities of paralanguage. So first one is the voice characteristics. What kind of characteristics voice will have? Like for example, laughing, crying, clearing your throat, whistling, groaning, all those things. Then we're talking about some voice qualifiers also. So what makes the voice qualified? So the differences will be in terms of volume, the differences will be in terms of pitch, rhythm, tempo, tone, and there will be some segregates which we call vocal segregates. So that means words that don't mean a thing but are used to space segregates. For example, I also might be doing that. For example, right? All those are vocal segregates which normally we use when we are talking, whenever we are using. So they are the vocal segregates also. They help you take some break, take some space in the sentences whenever we are communicating. Right? So these are the qualities of voice. Now, when we are talking about paralinguistic features, so what are those features? What does each one of them mean? So first and foremost, something which is very common and very important is the tone of the voice. So when I'm talking about the tone of the voice, what does the tone means? So it basically, refers to the emotional quality of your voice. What is the emotion that you are sharing whenever we are talking about the tone? So for example, some people will have a very direct tone, right? Very normal tone of voice. Some people will have a very loud tone of voice, so you normally talk loudly. Some people will be harsh, when we are talking, you're talking in the harsh way. Next one, some people have a very soft tone, so whenever they are talking, they will be very softly talking. Some people will have gentle tone, some people will have pleasing tone, some people will have commanding tone. They always speak in a very commanding voice. Some people will have very sharp tone. So these are the different types of tone, different way in which you will be trying to communicate. But one thing we should always keep in mind is that we should always align our tone with the message, whatever intent is there, message intent is there, whatever we are trying to convey, accordingly the tone of the voice should change. For example, if you want to persuade somebody, then you should be using a very confident and passionate tone. That will be very effective because you are trying to persuade somebody. So you need to sound yourself confident. If you are unsure of what you are saying, right, or if you are very soft in your tone, you will never be able to convince somebody. So you yourself need to be very confident. You need to be very really passionate about whatever you trying to communicate. Then let's say that if you are trying to share some difficult news, like some sad news, then you should be more compassionate and calm. That will make sense. Like let's say that if you're paying condolences to somebody, then you cannot be commanding and very loud and you using harsh tone, right? You need to be really compassionate towards the words that you are speaking. You need to be really calm because what you are trying to do is you're trying to share some difficult news or help somebody overcome that difficult time. So your tone should reinforce whatever messages that you're trying to share. It should not contradict it. And by regularly exercising your vocal cords, you can improve your ability to modulate your tone, because it is very essential. We generally don't realize this, but like all of us have the habit of following one particular tone, so most of our communication will take place in that tone only. But that is not the ideal way of doing it, right? We should ideally exercise our vocal cords so that we can improve. Whenever you feel there has some modulation is needed in your tone, then you should practice. You should practice varying your voice, like to try and communicate different kind of emotions which are really important. For example, if you're sharing some kind of excitement, the tone of your voice will be very different. It will be really pleasing. You're excited, so that will be clearly visible, not visible but audible through your tone. For example, right now you cannot see me, but I cannot use the flat tone, right? Let's say that, oh, I'm really excited about this class of communication, like I'm sure we are going to learn a lot of things out of it. So see, like I'm trying to show that excitement without looking at my facial expression. You might feel that excitement from my voice. At the same time, if I'm really serious, uh, see if you see, I'm telling you, if you people will not pay attention in the class, you all will fail in the examination. So this is something serious, like I know I didn't sound serious, but yeah, I was trying to do that. Or let's say you're curious. So what do you think, like what you all are doing, right? Are you how many of you are working, and how many of you are freshers looking for the job? So if I'm curious about something, like that question mark somewhere will be felt in my tone. So always remember that whenever you are trying to modify your tone, first step is in fact to consider the audience and the context of communication is very important. Most of the time your communication fails, uh, and miscommunication happens because somebody is just putting emphasis on the words that were spoken and not the context in which the words were spoken. That's why in the very beginning, when we were discussing the process of communication, I told you that context in which this communication is happening is very, very important. Without context, there are chances of miscommunication. So context will also play its important role in the paralinguistic features, because accordingly your tone will change, your pitch will change, everything will change. Then second one we are talking about is inflection. So what is inflection? It means spreading, either spreading or narrowing. It means you are trying to stress some words. Why do you think I am trying to stress some words? Because I want to show the emphasis that this thing is important, right? Paralinguistic features are very important from the examination point of view. No, paralinguistic features are very important in the communication because it is almost contributing 33% towards the success of the towards the communication. So that is about stressing something, right? You're trying to stress something. So that is voice inflection. I think I'll just take you through the next slide and understand it better. Yeah. So see, for example, if I'm sharing something with my husband, that see, I've got a big project. BIG is in capital letters. I've got a big project. Then okay, then he will not show me too many reactions because I spoke in a very normal tone and I did not stress about anything, right? But if I say that I've got a big project, so that means somebody will understand how big it is. It's a big project. So the way you pause, like sometimes let's say that I've got a big project, that means I have got it. Nobody else in the organization got it, but I got it. So I've got a big project. So the place where I'm pausing and the place where I'm stretching or the place where I'm stressing, it is showing the importance of that particular word, and it will show how much important it is. So that is about your inflection. Next one we are talking about is the pitch. So pitch is the measure of how high or how low a voice is. So it is basically determined by even the speed of vibration of your vocal cords. So it is just the frequency of your voice, and whenever we are talking about high pitch, sometimes we talk in high pitch. So high pitch often signifies some kind of let's say excitement. When you're excited, you will talk at the very high pitch. Or if a situation is really urgent, if there is an urgency, you will be talking at high pitch. Or if there is anxiety, if you feel anxious, if there's anxiety, then you will be using at a high pitch. But whenever there is a low pitch, you can associate low pitch with certain situations, like let's say something is serious, then your pitch will be low. Or let's say that the situation is very calm, then it will be like low pitch. Or let's say if you're speaking to somebody who is at a higher authority, your pitch will be low. You cannot go and talk at a very high pitch in front of your boss, right? That's not possible. You will face the consequences. So whenever emotions are involved, subtle variations in pitch can convey a wide range of feelings and attitudes, and it will provide listeners with cues to interpret the speaker's intention and emotional state. So my pitch, if I'm taking it high, it is showing that I'm really excited to take this class. But if I'm talking in a very low pitch, it means it is also talking about my intention and my emotional state. So all these things will differ with the quality of my voice, right? For example, a sudden rise in my pitch, it will indicate surprise or questioning. Hey, what do you think? Like, is this the right thing of doing it? Uh, are you understanding, right? That means, I'm questioning something. If I'm questioning, I will not say that, hi, are you understanding? That's also a way of saying it, of course. But if I really want to emphasize on that question, that you are understanding or not, that means I am going to give sudden rise in my pitch, so that you can understand. Whereas, if I'm like suddenly decreasing, then it will suggest that there is some kind of disappointment or sadness. So this is about pitch, which is very, very important part of my voice. Next one is the intensity or volume. Volume. So it refers to the loudness or softness of my voice. This is something which is very common. So we talk very loudly um, when we are into certain emotions, right? For example, if I'm angry, then I will not talk softly. I mean, hardly people will be able to talk softly and express their anger or dissatisfaction or disappointment. Mostly it naturally happens that we tend to raise our voice and we are very loud, because we are emphasizing on the disappointment that we have, and we are trying to express it through the loudness of our voice. But at the same time, if you are talking to a small kid, or if you are talking to elders, you will be very soft um, with your voice. So it doesn't, you always cannot be loud and you always cannot be soft, right? You need to raise your voice and you need to bring it down, depending upon um, what kind of situation you are into, or with whom you're having the conversation. So that is about the intensity or volume. You need to practice about changing it, bringing the variations as per the requirement. The next one is articulation. What is articulation? So it is the process by which your sounds, the syllables and words are formed. How you articulate, for example, people say that, okay, I'm gonna do this today. So otherwise people will say, I'm going to do this today. Or some people, when they are speaking like very fast, they'll say, probably I will be doing this, probably I'll be joining you today. So probably I will be joining you today. Or finally I achieved this. Or sometimes some people will say, finally I achieved this. Otherwise you say, finally I achieved this. Or gimme, come on, give me this, give me. Otherwise it is give me. So the way you are using your sound, your syllables, your words are formed and you articulate accordingly. So this is also the way you speak, at how articulation is done. The next one is rhythm in your voice. So what is rhythm? It is the modulation of weak and strong elements in the flow of your speech. So basically, what kind of rhythm you maintain, whenever you're speaking. So sometimes your rhythm will be like going up and it's coming down, right? Sorry, I cannot shout just now. I mean, I cannot speak at a very louder tone right now. But if I, again, same thing. If I want to emphasize on something, I will just try and stress on that word, and my rhythm will automatically be strong. Otherwise, it will be weak. Next one, another element is disfluency. So any kind of break which is coming in my fluent speech, that is called disfluency. For example, some people have the habit of having some kind of break in the speech. I'm also doing it, right? Ma. So that this thing, like, as you can just read it over here, right? These are acting as a disfluency. Now I'm not saying that it is 100% acceptable, but it is somewhere acting as a barrier in my communication. For example, if I constantly do then it is a distraction. A person who is listening might not really enjoy listening to me, because the pause which I am taking, or the break which I am taking, it's not a real break which is actually needed in that communication, but it is acting as a distraction. So the best way, like right now I'm telling you, what you should do is like try and record your voice, try and speak a paragraph, or try and converse with somebody without any kind of script, right? Have a unscripted conversation, just record it yourself and listen. If you feel that you're doing it too much, that means you really need to practice and ensure that you overcome that. Because professionally, whenever you will be having a conversation with somebody for your work or to any senior level person, trust me, this will act as a barrier. It is not going to help you create a good impression, because somebody will doubt your communication skills, and you really need to control that thing. If you're constantly doing and if you're constantly using certain words, like probably you are using, right, in fact you are using, then also you need to control those words, because they actually act as a barrier. And last one, we are talking about tempo or pace. Very, very important. So what is the pace? The rate at which you speak, right? Some people have the habit of speaking at a very fast pace, right? So many times I question myself that am I too fast, right? If we were in a live class, I would have actually asked you so many times, am I too fast, am I going fast? Because I want to ensure that you understand. Right now I am trying to maintain my tempo and the pace at which I am talking, because I know you cannot see my facial expressions, I know you cannot see my gestures. So only think we are 100% relying for the success of this class is the paralinguistic features which I am following and the words which I am using. So whenever you are into such kind of situation, normally also you should always control the rate at which you speak, right? There are people who have the habit of speaking like almost 400 500 words in a minute. That's very quick, very fast. If you use that, doesn't mean you will not be able to communicate, but it means that your communication will not be successful. So ideally 100 to 125 words per minute is okay. 75 words per minute is okay. You cannot be so slow that people will be bored. They will be like, a bol bhi do, what are you trying to say? Nobody has time to just wait and keep listening to you if you're very slow. So you need to maintain the ideal pace, so that at least people are interested in listening to you, and whatever you are trying to communicate, somebody will be easily able to decode it and act upon it. So that much pace and tempo you need to maintain. These are the these are the sorry, types of non the paralinguistic features that we are talking about. Here you can see on my screen one of the example of how to put the emphasis right on it. For example, let's just quickly go through this. See, there is a sentence which says, she is giving this money to me, right? She is giving this money to me. Now I am emphasizing on the word she. She is giving this money to me. She is giving. Who is giving? She, SHE. So we are emphasizing on nobody else, but only that one person, that lady is giving. That means the entire focus is on that lady. She is giving that money to me. That means she is not lending me money. She is giving me. It's my gift. So I'm emphasizing on the word giving. She is giving this money to me. I'm emphasizing on this word money, because I want to tell the world that, okay, I'm getting money. Money is being exchanged and nothing else. She is giving this money to me. That means I'm very happy. Nobody else is getting the money, but only I'm getting the money. Now, when you're talking normally, you don't really realize that whichever phrase or whichever word you're emphasizing, the entire focus is on that word, and people are taking it literally, understanding it literally. So you have to understand that whenever you are doing any formal communication, I'm not saying that you really need to worry about all these things when you're talking to your friends and family members. No, nothing like that. but we are learning business communication. So professionally, whenever you're talking, if you want somebody to pay attention to something, please emphasize on those words, so their entire focus psychologically will go there, right? That's how your half of your purpose will be solved, because they know what is important to you. So this is about emphasizing. Now I'm just quickly going to read this story. See, once there was a flood in a village. People were atop their roofs for safety. One of the men was constantly praying to God. He was deeply religious and a God-fearing man. Water levels was rising steadily. Along came one boat. Others asked him to climb on to it to save himself. He refused. He said, "No, I will be saved by my God." The boat left. After a while came another boat, and again people insisted. He replied in the same vein. The water level went up to the roofs finally. Then came a helicopter, and a rope was thrown to him, asking to get in the helicopter. Again the same answer. In a short while the man was up to his neck in water and eventually died. He reached heaven and, bursting with anger, asked God why didn't he come to his rescue when he was an ardent devotee. God replied, "Foolish fellow, the rescue teams in the boat and the helicopter were sent by me, but it was you who did not want to save yourself. How can I do anything about it? I gave you 3 options, but you denied them yourself." The idea of this slide is not to share this story. Of course, it was really interesting, but this was actually for the activity in the classroom. What I normally would have loved doing it, I would have asked one of you to change the tone, like high, low, fast, slow, emphasize. So then it would have made it. This is just a practice, actually. It was just on a lighter note, just a practice. I mean, maybe you can do it yourself. I was actually trying, when I was reading it, to change my tone, to change my pace, and to emphasize on certain words. I mean, I don't know if you could make out, but anyway, yeah, just on a lighter note. Now, moving ahead, we will be going to the last type of nonverbal communication, that is chronemics. So, what is chronemics? So, chronemics is use of time as a message system, when we are talking about time. Now, I wish we were in a live class. Tell me how many of you think you are punctual? I hope you are raising your hand. I want to see that. I want all of you to raise your hand, that yes, you are punctual. Because if you're doing MBA, if you're doing your business, you cannot afford not to be punctual, right? You need to be very serious about the timing that you follow. Otherwise, you will be missing out on so many things, right? For example, you will be missing out on important opportunities. You will be missing out on important messages. You will be important projects, assignments. A lot of things you will be missing out on if you will not be able to fulfill, if you will not be able to complete your work with the deadline that was given to you. So many of us actually, waste time. So many of us procrastinate. Procrastination is very common these days, because it's not that common these days. That completely depends on us. But, because of social media also, we are doing some work and suddenly something would beep in my phone and I would open it and I would read a message. But after that, somehow I will also open Instagram and I will go and just start looking at the home page, and I will start scrolling, and then I would just miss on the time. I will just keep scrolling, and 10 minutes gone. Then after 10 minutes, I suddenly realize that, I was doing something else. But just because I started something else and it was more interesting, so then my entire attention and my entire focus is gone, right? The intensity with which intensity with which I was, doing my work, that is gone. That motivation is, gone. Sometimes then I would feel like, okay, I'll take 10 more minutes break. Okay, let me just lie down and take a break for half an hour and then I'll start again. So you don't realize that one little thing, just because all of us are so much active on social media, we really missed out on something which was very important. and that's how we miss the deadline, and that's what I'm calling procrastination, right? So time is something, which is also helping you create an impression, right? Some people have the habit of always coming late. You feel like हाँ कौन time पे आने वाला है, late ही होने वाला है, it's okay, right? So then that means we are creating an impression in front of the people who we are supposed to meet. You think कि 7 बजे का बोला है, लोग 7:30 बजे ही आएंगे, but it's not like that. Professionally, it's not like that. If you have given time to somebody, you should reach on time, because it is talking about your personality. It is talking about how much serious you are about that business. If you really are, you follow the timeline. People should say that नहीं, ये तो time पे आएंगे, हम लोग time पे ही चलते हैं, because ये perfect time पे आ जाएंगे. And beyond anything, we have no right, to waste anybody's time. We don't know how much time other person has, what kind of schedules, what kind of commitment other people have. So if somebody has given us a time, we should be very punctual and following that timeline. It is important. You also must be having some friends जो बोलते कि बस 5 मिनट में पहुंच रहा हूँ, पास ही में हूँ, 5 मिनट में पहुंच रहा हूँ, और वो घर से निकले भी नहीं होते, बेड पे होते हैं. Then they would come after 1 hour. So don't do like that. That is not creating a good impression, right? So basically, when we are talking about time, it says how much importance we are giving to something or somebody. And again, it will differ from culture to culture, right? For in some countries, timing is very, very important. Punctuality is very important. If you 5 minutes late, done with the deal. You will never be able to achieve anything like that. So this is about the chronemics as a type of non-verbal communication. I hope you enjoyed this thing. I have some more videos to show related to non-verbal communication, so I will be sharing those videos with you in the next slide. Now there are some tips for effectiveness. Quickly I'll read. See, observe and understand. Use good eye contact. Use your face and voice appropriate to the situation. Adopt postures that reveal confidence and sincerity. Use gestures to drive home your points, right? If you want to convince somebody, only your facial expression and your words will not work. So you also need to use gestures in the right way to express yourself. Be aware of the contradiction between verbal and non-verbal cues. Yeah, try and understand the difference between two. Use both, so the way they can support you. And understand the cultural differences, very important point in non-verbal communication especially. Verbal, of course, language आएगी नहीं तो आप क्या बोल, Chinese में कैसे बोलेंगे, आपको आएगी नहीं तो. But you will never be able to control the non-verbal cues which you are passing, which you feel are universal but they are not, right? So you need to understand what are the cultural differences. In fact, I would like to give you some examples. So if you have some more time in this module, I would love to give you some more examples, and I will give you. Right, so these are the tips for effectiveness. I hope you understood all the types of non-verbal communication. So that's it. We will be moving on to the barriers next. Thank you.